Welcome everybody. My name is Diana Staris and I am the coordinator for the Injury Prevention Program at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, and I'm also the coordinator for Safe Kids Middlesex County, and we are really glad that you are here today. We're here today to talk about leaving kids alone in the car and how that is not a good thing to do. So to get us started, I'm going to ask Officer Martinez to take this temperature probe, and he's going to go put it in the back seat of that vehicle where there is a car seat with a doll, and then we're going to close up the car. And while we have our event today, we're going to be looking to see how high that temperature gets to be during the event. And you'll be able to see, because right over here there is a temperature display, and it tells you what the temperature is outside, and it will tell us what the temperature is in the car. So to start us off, I would like to introduce Mayor Wilda Diaz from Perth Amboy, and she's going to welcome everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane, and thank you for everything that you're doing. I want to welcome everyone this afternoon to our beautiful waterfront. I also want to thank all our partners. There's a lot of children here this afternoon too that are participating with this press conference, and it's great for them to hear firsthand the dangers of being locked in a car and why today is such an important day. Perth Amboy is a growing community. We have over 51,000 residents. Educating our residents on the safety is a high priority of our administration. Our police and fire departments take time to invest in our students and parents to advise them and guide them in how to be safe and stay safe in our homes, outdoors, through our school visits, our workshops, and events. I want to take a moment to thank our public safety officials and Robert Wood Johnson for the Never Leave Your Child Alone campaign. And I do want to thank our Freeholder director, Ron Rios, and Freeholder Polos, who has been at the forefront of this safety measure, and I want to thank you. As parents, we can become overwhelmed with the everyday duties and think that running a quick errand would only take a few. But nothing is worth the loss of a child in those few minutes. Nothing is more heart-wrenching, and actually it's just something that I don't think anyone would ever want to experience. It's better for us to take a few minutes and before we leave our doors, take a look. Do not leave a child alone in a car. I am blessed to say that these incidents have never been reported here in Perth Amboy, and we want to be sure that to keep our advocates aware of, continue to go out into our communities and speak about the importance of being safe and keeping our families safe by making sure to take a few minutes before you leave that car. I just want to again thank each and every one of you, and I thank you for choosing Perth Amboy. We have our safety personnel here. I can't thank them enough for bringing this awareness and right here in our community. So again, I just want to thank each and every one of you. And at this moment too, I have the honor to introduce someone that is a dear friend of ours in the city of Perth Amboy and represent us well in a Freeholder. It's now my pleasure to welcome Freeholder Polos to podium for a few remarks, as he has been commissioned as the chair of the Public Safety and Health Committee. Freeholder Polos is a good friend of Perth Amboy, stands as an advocate for our community. I want to thank him and all of our freeholders for supporting our community, and I thank you, Freeholder Polos, and I so grateful also to our Freeholder Director for everything that you do for our city. At this moment, I will pass it on to Freeholder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Mayor Diaz. It's always a pleasure to be in the city, great city of Perth Amboy. I want to also welcome our Freeholder Director, Ron Rios, and our partnership with Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital and the Injury Prevention Group. This is what it's all about today, ladies and gentlemen. It's about little children like this, babies who can be left in a car unattended, unwittingly by a parent who gets distracted and busy, runs into a store, maybe stops and speaks to a friend on the street and forgets for a moment that they left the child in the car. It only takes a moment to have that lapse of memory, and the reality is that in today's world, maybe a little bit different than when I was a child and of your age, boys and girls, things are busier today. There's more distractions that are going on, and parents are involved in so many things between work and responsibilities and distractions of social media and networking and telephones. These things can happen very innocently. And think about the devastation that it would create when a parent comes back out to find this poor child in their car not breathing. That's what this whole program is all about. That's why Robert Wood Johnson needs to be complimented for taking the initiative. We as a county are proud to be a partner with this initiative. In fact, this cart that you see behind us is something that will be moved about around the county to try to promote this very issue, that parents need to be mindful. We can't forget about what's in our car. We need to make sure that those children are taken care of and that we take that additional responsibility upon ourselves as parents and as adults who are in those vehicles. So again, I want to compliment Robert Wood. I want to compliment this entire initiative, and in particular I want to compliment the leader of this group, who is a person who I work with very, very closely on so many different initiatives. You know, in Middlesex County, we're committed to all types of traffic safety and public safety initiatives in our departments with the great help of a great Freeholder board. And we do many of them with great private sector partnerships. And one of them is with Diana Starris. Diana is with Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital. She's the director of the Injury Prevention Division there, but she actually wears so many hats and is involved in so many different organizations that it's a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of resources that we take advantage of at the county every single day in trying to develop new programs and new initiatives to make our streets safer and to make our lives safer for all of us, young and old. So it's a pleasure to introduce to you the person who really takes the lead on this initiative, Diana Starris. Diana?
All right, so a little bit shorter than Jim. So today we're here to talk about heat stroke, which is also known as hyperthermia, and it's the leading cause of non-crash vehicle-related deaths for children. And it happens when the body isn't able to control the temperature and cool quickly enough so the body temperature can rise to high levels, and they get to be dangerous. And young children are particularly at risk because their bodies don't cool the same way an adults cool, and they can heat up much faster than any of the adults that are here. Not to mention the fact that a car can heat up almost 20 degrees in 10 minutes, especially on a day like today where we have such a beautiful day here in Perth Amboy. And believe me, cracking a window does not help. When we look at situations where kids have been left alone in cars and there has been a tragedy, the majority of the time the child was forgotten by the caregiver. And we might say, how does that possibly happen? But with our busy lives today and a sleeping child in the back seat, it can happen. Other times, children play alone in unattended vehicles and get stuck. And that is something we definitely can be preventing. And almost 20% of the time when this tragedy has occurred, a child has been left in a car intentionally. And that is something that never should happen. So what do you do if you see a child alone in a car? Maybe you're at the grocery store parking lot. What are some of those things that you should do? I can tell you, first of all, don't walk away. You can't be that innocent bystander. You need to take some action. You need to make sure that that child is okay and responsive, and if they're not, you call 911 immediately. If they do look to they're okay, then try to locate the parents or get a hold of security at the facility that you're at and see if they can locate the parents, maybe over the PA system in the grocery store. If there's someone with you, have that person stay while you go look to find that person that can help. And if the child's not responsive and appears in great distress, well, guess what? You need to break the window to get them out of there because you may be the only one there before the police arrive. So don't be a bystander because your actions really could save a life. And we have been very lucky in New Jersey that we have not had this happen in many years, probably about 7 or 8 years. And I truly believe that's because we are vigilant about getting the word out there. I'd like to introduce you to Carol Ann Giardelli from Safe Kids New Jersey. She is the director, and she has some remarks she'd like to share with you.
Well, thank you and good afternoon, everyone. We're here today because losing one child is one child too many. And if you think this can't happen to you, you're sadly mistaken. Just speak to any of the parents that tragically lost their child due to leaving them unattended in a vehicle, forgotten, or if a child was playing in a vehicle and the parent was not aware of it, gained access to their keys, got into the car and played, and the car was locked. Sadly, this year, we have lost nationwide 10 children as a result of hypothermia. July and August are the months where most children die throughout the country, but don't be mistaken, these hypothermia deaths are occurring throughout the nation in every month of the year. Now, New Jersey may not be getting anything in December or January, but other states are. But we need to be cautious that it doesn't have to be a tremendously hot day for a child to suffer the tragic results of hypothermia. We also need to be aware that the numbers are going down, thank goodness, and the numbers of near misses are increasing as a result of what Diana just mentioned about not being just a bystander. People are becoming more aware of this message. They are aware of the phrase, never leave your child alone. So it is helping that there are more people on the ball. More people are reaching out and gaining access or getting help when help is needed. But we want to make sure that you remember what to do. If there is ever a case of hypothermia, we want you to be aware of what this is all about. And as a result, Safe Kids has created an acronym called ACT. ACT. It stands for A, avoid heat stroke, C, create reminders, and T, take action. You can avoid heat stroke, related injuries and deaths by never leaving your child alone in a car, not even for a minute. And also, as I mentioned, make sure that they are not able to gain access to a vehicle without your supervision. C is for create reminders. Create reminders. As we talked about being so busy in our lives, we take the child to daycare. One day we may have an appointment and somebody else may be helping us and taking the child to daycare. They're out of their routine. So create a reminder that there is a child in your car. If that child is sleeping, you may not be hearing them, but you'll have to go into the back seat to possibly get your briefcase or possibly get your cell phone. Put something in the back seat where there is a child in a car seat so that when you get out of the vehicle, you are consciously reminded that you need to open that back door to get access to either get whatever you left there, but more importantly, to remove the child from the car. And this should be done obviously at your final destination. So it's especially important to remember this if you're not routinely dropping off or picking up children. And then there's the T for take action. This is something we can all do. If you see a child alone in a car, call 911. Whether the child looks distressed or not, call 911 if there is a child by him or herself in a vehicle. Emergency personnel are trained and they welcome your call. They'd rather have a false alarm, a near miss, than to be called to the scene of a fatality. So we're calling on everyone to work together to make sure that we do not lose another child to heat stroke. The children and parents here in Middlesex County, throughout New Jersey and throughout the country deserve nothing less. So thank you very much for your attendance, and remember to act, avoid, create, and take action.
Okay, so how long have we been here? Maybe 15 minutes? Just before we started our event, excuse me, Officer Martinez went and placed a temperature probe in the car behind me. Let's see. The display says the temperature in the vehicle is 90 degrees. It started off at 81 degrees. So in the last 15 minutes, it's gone up 9 degrees. Temperature outside is 85. So if you think about that child that's now been sitting in that car while the temperature has gone up almost 10 degrees in the last 15 minutes, that child potentially could become unresponsive. That child could be exhibiting signs of dehydration. They could have hot, red, dry skin, a rapid pulse, vomiting, or worse. And the longer that child stays in the car, the hotter their body will get, the hotter their organs will get, and the more chance they have of dying in that vehicle. So it's really up to all of us to do something. Don't just walk by, call 911, try to find the parents, and get somebody to help this child. Because working together, we know that we can keep these tragedies from happening. We know that our collaboration and partnership will help to keep kids in New Jersey safe. I'd like to thank the City of Perth Amboy, the Perth Amboy Police Department, Mayor Diaz, Officers Rogers and Martinez for helping us today. They really helped to pull this together on their end from the town. Freeholder Director Rios and Freeholder Polos and the entire Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders for their ongoing support of our public awareness initiatives. Carol Ann Giardilli and Safe Kids for continuing efforts to keep kids safe here in New Jersey and around the world. Oasis Chevrolet for partnering with us today, not only today, but during the past few years to bring awareness and education to the community about child passenger safety and for bringing this lovely vehicle to use for our demonstration today. And to all of you for attending today to support our efforts to save lives and prevent injury and make Central Jersey a safer place for all of us. Thank you very much.